We're talking about The Blade itself, written by Joe Abercrombie, who was educated at the Royal Grammar School, Manchester University, where he studied psychology, and then he moved into television production before taking up a career as a freelance film editor. He wrote the book, The Blade itself, in 2002, completing it in 2004. It was published back in 2006, and then followed by two other books in the First Law trilogy, Before They Are Hanged and The Last Argument of Kings. He's currently living and working in London with his wife and his daughter. So The Blade itself follows several characters from several different points of view. Last time we kind of spoke about whether that was working for us. We also spoke at length about, is there plot progression or is it more fly on the wall? Darian is already being like, nope. And this is my favorite thing about everyone being able to see videos now. Everyone can see you disagreeing or agreeing, which is great. If you're wondering who everyone is on this stream, they are part of the Members Plus on patreon.com/Maude's Book Club. You can sign up and join a part of the online digital lounge room that we have where we get together to discuss this book. But I'm also reading the chat. Your stream on the Riverside is coming through pretty clearly. So it's the rebroadcast to Twitch and YouTube that Riverside is doing that subpar. Riverside, you and I are going to have a little talk. I feel like I need to be Glockter in this situation. Bring me my tools out. It is time to talk to Riverside about very much bothering me with what we are doing with this broadcast. If you're listening to the books, it's really quite delightful. Stephen Pacey is the name of the narrator, who does so many distinct different voices. Darian giving it 2 thumbs up, really enjoying the performance there. He does different dialects, completely differing characters. It's a lot of fun. But because we're doing part 2, it's full spoilers, and we like to rate the book. There's Zelda in the corner. Hi, cutie. Look at your little eyes flashing up. So let's go around, not only in the Members Plus, but in the chat. What are you giving this book out of 5? Vaden will be scribing and recording all the votes. Vaden's like, I am. I'm like, yes, you are. And we'll find out what the overall club score is for this one as well. So is this book good? What are you giving it out of 5? Let me know. Academic, you're there. I'll get you on first. You're at the top of the video.
Lucky me.
Nice.
I guess 3 out of 5.
Why 3?
I just wasn't as invested in this book. I thought it was perfectly good as far as the book. I will probably follow up on where they're going, but I just was too much jumping around, too many characters. So 3 out of 5 for now.
Too many characters. We've got a bit of character bloat happening. Too many characters means not enough depth usually. Darian, you're next in the video. What you giving it out of 5?
I'll give it 3.75. I like the world, I like the characters, I like the prose. His writing style is really good, but the plot isn't really advancing much. It's just like this book is just all set up. It's not really a plot in itself. It's just like, all the preamble to whatever happens in 2 and 3.
I agree that the plot, I'm going to go into it in way more detail, but I hear you on that one. Nisha, what are you giving this one out of 5? This is your first book with Maude's Book Club?
It is. I'm like in the 4.5 out of 5. Like, I like to know my characters and be into their world. And so this gave me everything I need. I mean, I did want plot, and I feel I want the second and third books.
We are full steam ahead for you. I love this 4.5. That's our highest score thus far. James, you've also commented 4.5. Why are you loving this one?
I'm right there with Nisha. I've loved it. I'm actually halfway through book 2 already.
He's unstoppable.
I'm in love with it, but yeah, there's like no plot. Even the book ending was the strangest ending I've ever read in a book. There was no ending. It just kept going.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
That threw me a little bit, but I was in love enough. I didn't mind it and just kept rolling with it. I just see it as one big book.
Yeah, okay. I get that completely. KP Dubs, I know that you're not here, so I'll move on to Catch. Catch, did you finish this book? Did you read enough to weigh in on the score?
I did not finish it.
KP
From
Dubs,
what I did
we should be
read,
charging extra for this angle, by the way, KP, just so you know.
when I did what I did read was a very solid meh.
Really? You're not loving it? I would have thought you would have liked
Not
this
really.
one.
I wanted to. I genuinely wanted to like this book, but I just couldn't buy in. I don't give a rip about any of the characters that much. Like the one character I do like has had maybe 10 pages in the whole what I've read so far.
Well, where are you up to?
And I don't know, like 120 something. And then
Hey, it's more
I've
than
been
100.
stupidly busy with work, so I haven't had an opportunity to read. I'm
Mhm.
actually working right now.
Lovely. Thank you for splitting your time and attention.
So I wanted to like this book. I just don't, unfortunately.
Got it. Well, all opinions are welcome here. No one necessarily is right or wrong, and we can just describe what we're feeling with it all. Vaden, what are you giving this one out of 5?
5 out of 5. Enjoying the characters, even though they're likable at all as people for the most part, but they're interesting and they have depth to them, so I appreciate that. They're more ambiguous, kind of cool. I just wish we got more like character development, but we're getting some. So, and they have an interesting backstory. I feel like it's more like just getting their backstory than anything else. Like almost everyone has a history that we're going through, so we're just kind of learning about history, and hopefully next books will be more of their actual like progression. But yeah, nothing really happens. The contest is kind of whatever. We're just like, that's the most hype thing that we've seen, and it's barely anything. Like it's just like, it's kind of cool because it was just almost only because of Baez, really.
Yeah, I know.
So.
What is that very reminiscent of? Oh, Snape! Counterspell in the Quidditch.
Oh. Anyway. I've read it, so I don't know. But
the muttering, and it looks like Snape is cursing Harry, but it turns out he's doing the counter curse because it was Quirrell all along. Spoiler! Robin, what are you giving this one out of 5?
I'm giving it a 3 out of 5.
That's not great. I mean, it's more than average.
It's middle of the road. It was a meh book. I don't think grim dark's for me. I want some I want character growth, and this just felt like discussion about what the characters are about without them changing, and then there was little to no plot.
It was a lot of what and not enough why. I hear you with that. Yeah, I get it. Darren, what are you giving this one? What are you liking about it?
I like all the characters, and I like grimdark. I don't need it to be a happy story. I definitely, it's kind of, this book is kind of, it's Fellowship of the Rings. It's getting the party together and they're off, and it's very much you have to read the rest to get the full picture. But
okay,
I do like that everyone is just at best kind
diabolical.
Of shitty. At best, just kind of shitty, not really shitty. The various levels of pretty terrible people. So
yeah,
I kind of like that.
I definitely struggled with that in the first half of the book way more than the second half of the book. We're going to go through Nick, Katie, and then Colleen for yours. Nick, what did you give this one out of 5? Are you there?
I gave it a 2.5.
Whoa, Katie, you are really not liking this book.
It was meh. I tried really hard. I forgot until yesterday that I had to finish it.
Oh,
so I went through it really fast. And at the end, I was like, oh, this is getting good. And then it stopped, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm good.
Okay. You didn't like the Giselle and the RD moments?
No, they were boring.
Hot damn, I love your honesty. Nick, do we have you? We couldn't get you before. I saw that you're muted again. Can we try and get you again, Nick, if you're there? I think you need to look at your microphone connection because you have definitely unmuted, but we're not hearing any noise. So go into your settings and see if you can connect your mic on that one. Colleen, if you're there, would you give it out of 5?
I actually quite liked this. I'm not even sure why, but I liked it better than the last books we read.
Well, I can't remember the last books we were. Rhythm of War.
Oh no, okay, not Rhythm of War. I guess I'm thinking of
Will of
the Many.
Will of the Many, the Bobiverse books.
Yeah. I liked this one better than those.
I think I do
the
too.
Characters to be interesting. Not likable necessarily, but definitely interesting.
I agree. This is really kind of reminiscent of the Game of Thrones, where it's like there are some pretty diabolical characters. They're all sort of have their own agenda and they're all in different parts of the world. And we get to explore those sections of the map because those characters are in it. And then they all start coming together and we're getting those different POVs. And it's kind of brutal. There is a brutality here that there's a couple of chapters where I'm like, oh, this is violent. I do not need to hear in detail about bloody 9 fingers coming out and just obliterating this man's nose across his face by 13 or so very strict headbutts, one after the other. That for me, we could simmer down now. Like, I don't need all of those details. But because I'm starting to understand the characters more, you're right, not likable, but a little fascinating. And I think more so now that, it kind of, I can't believe I'm saying this, it kind of uses the Marvel landscape of we're going to introduce all of the superheroes in their origin story so that when we bring them together, the most fascinating thing is how they interact with these other characters that we've also gotten to know on a solo level. And I really, really dig that storytelling. Now, the fact that there is little... Oh, Nick, do we want to try again? How'd you go? Oh, bugger. Well, if you're in chat, I can read it out also. And a big shout out to everyone on YouTube and James saying smash that like button, which you do every time, which is very sweet. James says, look, we needed more Giselle and Artie scenes. I completely agree. I like those two together. We were talking about how Giselle was a absolute piece of shit in the first half of the book, but I maintain my same argument, which was there are a lot of horrible things about him. He is self-involved, entitled, believes that he is actually better than a lot of people. He's such a dum-dum, says Darian. He's oblivious. He's self-centered. Like, there are a lot of negative traits. But one thing that happened in this book, and I'm going to die on this hill, is how important it is for a man to step into very inappropriate conversations in this locker room talk scenario. When men have no other women in their presence, and so they say all the shit that is like really horrible, to have another man come in and be like, don't say that, like, and call out that behavior is a very important thing to exist. And Jezzel did it about Artie. Who's jumping in? Thank you, James.
Amen.
And
that was one of his best scenes.
Yes. Did he out himself for having feelings for Artie?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But probably the most decent thing that I'd seen in this entire book? Yes. Because Wes beat the shit out of his sister, so it's certainly not him.
Wes. Oh man, that was so sad.
I'm not giving Jezzel the W on that. I don't think he deserves a W on that because I think he partially deserves a W on that. But I think it was coming from a place of possessiveness. Like, it's that same thing that Jeff was talking about when we were having the Bobiverse discussion, where it's like, okay, we can talk about the other women that they were having locker room talk about. And then the moment that it was Artie, that's when he got up in arms. And I don't think it was coming from a position of, okay, we need to protect women. In this instance. It's
just don't talk shit about my girl.
Woman.
Yeah. And what I will say as a woman is the bar is so fucking low. The bar is so low that the fact that the conversation even existed at all is a win. even if it's out of possessiveness, even if it's probably not the right, the foundation of it, the crux of it could be improved upon. Absolutely. The fact that it existed at all, that's what I will consider a win. And if that's the saddest thing you've heard today, good, because it is that sad and bleak out there.
And I agree with you. I think the fact that the conversation is happening, I just don't know if we can chalk it up to Jezal being a good dude is what we. I don't know if we can go that far.
Jezal is not a good dude. Jezal had a decent moment, and he is capable
with an asterisk.
Yes, with an asterisk. Yes. And he is capable of having a decent moment. I argued in the last first half of the book that him reestablishing his relationship with alcohol to be a better person was a win. Now, again, is it to further his own agenda and his own goal? Yes, asterisks. But is that somewhat of a win? Yes, it is. Faden, your hands up. Was it decent though, says Integral Compass. I mean, that's what we're discussing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that scene was interesting because not just because of that, but also because it kind of mirrored what Colm acted like in terms of the way he talked to Jezal when he thought he was getting involved with his sister, because he got rough with him too, and he was like, "Don't you talk about my sister," and now it wasn't with him being inappropriate, saying anything inappropriate yet. He was just saying just an idea that he might be with the sister in any way bothered him that much. So it kind of reminded me of that. That's why I wasn't thinking that it was a great moment for him either, because I thought it was just him kind of like taking that anger from what he got from Colm and putting it on the other guys. So.
And they actually both displayed that behavior where it's like, say one more thing about my sister.
Yeah, it was like the scene was almost exactly the same. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was. But that is like the only time a woman was mentioned in this book and somewhat defended in this book. There are so few female characters in this book. So I want to open up the conversation to the women. Did you A, notice it, and B, did it impact your enjoying how you enjoyed the story? Do you feel like there was not enough representation? Is it kind of an accurate understanding of that time? Did you think that characters like Artie, who was really quite headstrong, and Pharaoh, who's feral, did you like those characters? We are seeing another one in the second half of the book. I forget her name, the redhead with the mask, who's been absolutely beaten up as well.
Vitari.
Yes, Vitari?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm listening to it as well. So like I struggle to remember the names when I'm only being told it instead of like visually seeing it. Bernadette makes a great comment earlier as well, saying that Jezal with the whole alcohol thing was manipulated into doing that. True. But the result was better. And Nick said earlier, I won't believe his intentions are good. I don't even think we can aim for anything being good in this book. Good is way too high. I think we are just aiming for, is it somewhat decent?
Or would you say, like, what I appreciate and love seeing is character growth. They are growing. They're improving. All of them in some ways, and more in the second book. If anyone's interested, I won't spoil anything, but there is more character growth. It's nice.
Ooh. Okay, so you suggest continuing the series?
I would, yeah, definitely.
Alicia responded about the amount of female characters in the book. I did notice the lack of female characters, she said. I felt like the author tried, but they didn't feel like women to me. They weren't fully formed. Nisha says there were 2 times that Giselle was looked out for. West was bad, but he did good within his capacity to do so. And then KP Dubs was like, lol, that's not what Jeff said last week. He said that there was no growth ever. I take what Jeff says with a grain of salt from time to time. But yeah, I feel like let's talk about the lack of plot. Even Glockter grew. I agree, Nish. The lack of plot. This is actually a type of storytelling. So I've seen it in anime. The genre of anime is called slice of life, where you're kind of coexisting with these characters as they go about their day to day. There is a director, Richard Linklater, who makes a lot of films where I don't feel like it has a very clear act 1, act 2, or act 3 at all. And like the end of this book, it kind of just stops. And you have that feeling of almost emptiness because you were along for this ride and then it was just kind of like abruptly over, without having a sense of something coming to an end. Now, I get really frustrated with this type of storytelling from time to time because it doesn't follow the traditional beats, and it makes you feel a bit empty afterwards. There was a fantastic anime called Fruits Basket that does slice of life. And you don't like Fruits Basket, Academic? I love people's videos on now because it's like everyone's seeing Academic go. I loved it. I wanted a little bit more, what would Katie call it? Katie, what would you call it? I want a little bit more spiciness. Yes. It was a bit too safe. And I'm like, well, if you're going to be boring, you may as well like bring the goods. So yeah, it is a particular type of storytelling. I guess what we're really seeing the divide with the scores are everyone's kind of saying the writing's good. That, some of the characters are interesting. The massive issue is the lack of plot. So do you feel like a traditional structure of a book would improve this book for you, or do you like that it's taking that risk? I think that's like, did you rate it a 4 or higher or under a 4? Like that's kind of where it's at with it.
I would say that like I would have definitely liked a lot more if we actually had more of a plot. Like I feel like this stuff would have been good, but like I wish it was like interspersed with some cool events, and then we had an actual ending, had an actual climactic finish to at least for the first book to have something to go off on cliffhanger. But like I mean I don't see how it really gained anything by not having that. It did its own thing, which is cool, but I didn't see any benefit of really not adding those things in there. It just seemed like a little missing something.
Okay. Yeah. No, I get that. Nisha says, I did throw in a spicy series over the weekend to get my fix while I got to know the first Law Crew. I'm going to need to know the name of that series, Niche. And then James is like, oh, just casually reading more books on the side, you sly dog. I'm actually under tracking for my reading goals for this year already. I should be on 3 or 4, and I am only on 2, but I'm about to finish my 3rd. But yeah, Nish, if you've got that recommendation, I would love to know it. Bernadette says, I thought the plot was just a slow build and I really enjoyed it. I had no idea how these characters were going to meet or interact, etc. And I was very invested in order to see how it would occur. Super smart writing to me. Bernadette, I feel like I was a little bit more bogged down by it in the first half than the second half. The second half, I was kind of like, I understood what I was in for and I let it happen. Yeah, and I kind of just adjusted my expectations accordingly. I actually really like this book. My score is a 4.25. I'm kind of digging it. Now, I was really, for the first third of the book, disheartened by the lack of decency. And that was like a big conversation that we had in part 1, where I was like, I need hope. I need decency in here. I feel like Baez, I love the moments with Baez. I love the fact that he's legit. He knows magic. The whole quest to use the key for the hidden chamber kind of deal, where there's like magic aplenty and he knows exactly what to do and just kind of goes about it like it's the most normal thing ever. I ate that shit up. I loved it. I loved other moments where we're learning that there's something like Baez is also collecting very interesting people. He has, he chooses Glockta for a reason. He chooses Logan to join him on this quest for a reason. We're now learning that, I can't remember his name, but that goes by the letters of the alphabet. Baez is number 1, number 2. Who's also been traveling and collecting people. And he is the one who finds Pharaoh. And we find out that she cannot see any color at all. She's completely colorblind, but she heals at an exponential rate, and she's just fueled by vengeance. Like, they're just incredibly fascinating, interesting mix of people, you know? And I feel like usually I'm so accustomed to all of these people being very high powered, whether it's X-Men or, you know, superheroes, or they're very good looking. So to have someone who has been tortured and has chronic pain, really, really refreshing. To have someone else who's like really lost and has such a almost, even though he looks brutish as anything, he's got such a world naivety because he's never been around a lot of people or big cities before. Like that contradiction is the juxtaposition, one might say, is really quite beautiful. Seeing him go into bloodlust in the second half of the book, I started noticing tropes that we've seen in books already. So Logan Nine Fingers becoming bloody Nine Fingers. That's Daddy Dalinar with the, what is it? Thrill.
The thrill, yeah.
The thrill. Same thing, isn't it?
Can I say,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't have the raise hand on the app on my phone.
Oh, then just absolutely unmute and start chatting. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know if Catch is paying attention, but if anything, he should go and read that chapter. I found it to be, I know you were just talking about how kind of gory it was, but I found it one of the coolest representations of barbarian rage with very human, a lot of humanity with Logan as he kind of wakes up from it. And he's like devastated that he did it again and he killed people, but it was so barbaric rage, like classic barbarian. It was so cool.
And it was so Jekyll and Hyde. Like, he really did become someone else. It's like so cool, and the shame that surrounds that. But like, we are starting to learn more and more about his legacy, his history, how far the rumors and the legend of him goes. Like, he holds up the fact that he's missing this finger, and someone's like, other people have lost fingers in the north, and he's like, nah, mate, it's fucking me, and you're so dead. Like, it was a cinematic moment, absolutely, for sure. So
I'm half paying attention.
Yeah.
Darian.
No, I was just going to add to that. It was a really funny moment for me, like at the dinner where Logan and Colin West are talking to each other, and like, my name is Nine Fingers, and it's like, is there by not chance the Bloody Nine? I know there's like a song about this, you know, crazy berserker guy. You know, songs are like, you know, blood and alcohol and all these things, like, and he's like talking to this guy who looks like he's seen 150 battles, and he's not putting two and two together.
No, it's great.
To me, I was laughing so much at just that level of he just couldn't process that the Bloody Nine was right next to him.
That like whole scene I really enjoyed as well. The fact that they were putting on a performance, and this is where it feels really Game of Thrones for me personally. They're putting on a performance and they are openly mocking Baez. It is an act of hostility towards their guest, so to speak. And the dialogue moments that they had, you know, challenging Baez to perform magic in those particular ways. Oh, no way. I have to read this comment. Wow. Hi, Maude. I've never managed to catch a live stream, but hi. We met once at a cafe near the Channel 7 office in Sydney. I served you coffee and you were super friendly. I just wanted to say Happy New Year. Aw, that's lovely. You must have spelt my name right or something. And I would have been so thrilled by that because there was another cafe near Channel 7 and they called me Nod, N-O-D. I don't think I was half as friendly to that person, but I don't think they even knew. So that's lovely. I'm so glad I made a positive impression. There you go. Huh. I'm like just panicking, going back through every other coffee interaction I've ever had and hoping that I've made somewhat of a positive impact in that way. All right, let's talk about where we currently are. So in part 2 of the book, the story stops pretending it's about a quest and starts revealing what it's really about. Power, inertia, and who gets hurt while important people maneuver. The characters are no longer being introduced, they are being tested. Alliances harden, masks, pun, slip, and Byers quietly becomes the most dangerous man in the room. I did mainly because I've been following your content since before SourceFed. Oh, wowie. What year did we meet? Because Channel 7, I would have been working there in 2012. And that's a long time ago for those that aren't counting on their fingers. A very long time ago. So let's talk about some of the plot points. The North arc shifts from survival to looming war. How did Darian? I remember you saying last week that we were talking about the fact that you liked that Logan's friends were still alive, and that we're kind of seeing. Are you saying that?
I don't think that was me.
You're like, I didn't care for it at all, Maude. Yeah. Who said that they liked the fact they liked discovering that Logan's friends were still alive? And I said I had no idea going from like the Flathead to something else, and I was very confused with who it was. And sometimes the chapters aren't as clear, but it did sidestep from the point of that, which was Logan's friends are still alive. Is anyone enjoying those chapters?
I do like his friends.
Yeah.
I mean, getting to know them and how they think about Nine Fingers, and then like, because we don't get to see the butchery side. Well, we didn't get to see the butchery side of him until like the end of the book, and they know him as that. Like, that's all they think of him. So it's like we finally are aligned in how we see him.
And that's the thing. We are kind of seeing a very different side to Logan. We're seeing someone who is compassionate. He did save Quire's life. You know, we're seeing sort of a more peaceful thing because he's so used to fighting for his life the whole time that like he's having a second to breathe, which is really interesting. And finding out through other characters what he's really like was cool. Academic, your hands up.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Oh, boop.
Appreciate it. I think it's an interesting conversation to discern exactly what is Logan's real side, right? Because I feel like if you're speaking to the more thinking, more thoughtful individual, that's who their real side is, as opposed to like their more instinctual side. But I can see the point of view. It's like, hey, whatever you do on instinct, like that's who you really are underneath the whole thing. So like, what do y'all think?
I feel like we had that conversation once where it's like, what version of you kicks in when adrenaline takes over? Because that is like, a very accurate representation of who you are. James.
Yeah, if I may, again.
Yes.
I think it's really cool that he went to psychology for this. Because I think on a psychological level, your instincts or his barbaric rage, which comes from the instinctual part of your brain, which is not conscious. It doesn't even think. It doesn't think, it just acts. And usually that's a lot of, I think what he's seeing now, Logan, is how much trauma and complex PTSD he basically lives with.
Yes.
And he does he hates that it's a part of him. I think he would rather, well, I mean, he's instinctually driven to live, but he hates that he even has to kill now. So I think the real Logan is the one who's awakening to this and realizing who he really wants to be and not the barbarian.
I agree. And that was really good insight. And every now and then I thought I plugged it in and it stopped it, but every now and then my headphones disconnect for about 4 seconds. So that's fun. Nisha, your hands up.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially after James and Academic just pointed that out. He used to have to battle all the time, Logan. So maybe that was who he needed to be in that moment. And now he like he said, James said, he's realizing I don't need that anymore. So I should say his other side, not his real side. Thanks.
But he's also like learning that he can't sleep in a bed, that he doesn't like sleeping indoors. And then there was this mystic sort of moment that happens for him that ends up searing a hole in the side of the cottagey cabin that he was in. So he's just like, what is happening? What is going on? And I think he's sort of switching having survival mode drive every situation to now experiencing completely different things, mass amounts of people, high volume of people, magic. And he's just like, yeah, I've actually, I can talk to spirits. So do with that what you will. Vaden, your hands up.
Yeah, so what I would say is that I think, assuming that if the whole berserker side of him is actually just him and it's not like influenced or something by the spirits or some other magical force, like if that's not true, then I would say that they're both him. Like I don't, even your instinctual side is part of you. Like I mean, whether it's your thinking side or your more base side, it's still the same person. It's just different facets of it, right? You know, everyone has multiple facets depending on the situation, depending on their needs at the time. Like they adapt to whatever they have to do, and so like I don't think it's just one or the other. I think it's both.
I agree as well. And it's happening pretty quickly for him also. So let's go into Logan Nine Fingers and some of the things that happen in the second half of the book. He keeps trying to be better, which is what we've been discussing, but he keeps getting pulled back into violence. His reputation starts moving faster than he does. We see how other people actually experience him instead of just seeing sort of like the world from his point of view. And Bloody Nine feels less like a monster and more like gravity. Like this thing is coming at people hard and fast. So the questions that I have for everyone is, do you think Logan is genuinely changing, or is he just exhausted now that he's coming out of survival mode? Is the poor guy just like wrecked?
What's the difference?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Is he genuinely changing because he's exhausted? Yeah, okay. I like that. Any other people wanting to weigh in on that? Is Logan genuinely changing?
I think so.
Sorry, go
It's
ahead.
because of Logan's choices. He's choosing to want his identity is what he's choosing to be. Essentially, he doesn't want to be the Bloody Nine. So I mean, that has to count for something.
Yeah. Jimmy is saying, I think that Logan's just mostly tired. Darren, you also said that Logan's character is a bit like Guts from Berserk, an elite warrior who's trying to understand his identity. Does it extend beyond violence and rage and killing? Because that's what he's ordered to do. That's what we're finding out. Bernadette says, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. And Occult Stool has joined the chat. Hello. Wait, Vaden, I see you've responded to Berkey, but I can't see Berkey's comment.
You know, it's okay. He was just mentioning about it's right above Jason's post, the howdy folks. You don't see it?
Nah.
Okay, well, do you want to say it instead?
Yeah.
Okay. So his comment is, Baez, what if Gandalf was an asshole? Logan, what if Aragorn was an asshole? Jezzel, what if Boromir was an asshole? Farrell, what if Legolas and Gimli has a daughter and she was an asshole? What if Wormtongue was likable, actually?
Oh, wow. That's probably the comment. I'm so glad we read that out. I'm bummed to have missed that the first time, Becky. That is hilarious. It really is. It's like Lord of the Rage instead of Lord of the Rings. That's great. Oh, it actually makes me like the book even more. Some of the other questions that I have is, do you think that Logan deserves peace, or has he burned that bridge completely? I see Pet. Colleen, who is this? I see Kitty. I see Cat.
This is Bibble.
Hi, Bibble. Oh, wow. Bibble turned back. What a cutie.
Yeah, she only answers if she feels like it. She's a cat.
She's a cat. She also has a very unfortunate mustache. Let's just say that.
Yes.
But it wasn't a choice. It just happened. What's it? RJ's in the house saying, what up, Maude and everyone? Hi, RJ. We're doing Maude's Book Club. We are talking about The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. It is a grimdark, kind of Game of Thrones-esque, or if Lord of the Rings were assholes. I'm going to have to do a video about that one. Someone copy Berkey's comment because I'm literally going to do a video about Berkey's comment because that's so great. She says, I want to do a video about it, but whether I actually get around to it is always a different story because like Logan, sometimes I'm like, do I deserve peace? Or do I have to make content all the time? It's a choice. It is a choice. When other characters fear Logan, do you think they're wrong or is it earned? Would you befriend Logan? I mean, Catch said that's his favorite character. Catch, you were like, you would have a beer with Logan for shoresies, right?
Well, I'm not much of a beer drinker, but I'd certainly have a burger and a drink with him.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, he seems like a decent guy most time. I mean, just don't get him in berserker state, otherwise you're fine. Like he seems friendly, he seems thoughtful, he seems smart. Yeah, why not?
Integral Compass says, sure, I love an asshole. You seem a decent fellow. I hate to have to kill you.
It seems like he's only a jerk to the people that have wronged him, though. I mean, he had to have his back up against the wall before Bloody Nine came out, which someone said is kind of like Maude. She's great with her friends, but don't cross her. I remember this.
I was just about to say, I mean, that's the most relatable thing about Logan. You earn decency, you are decent. You want to poke the bear? Rawr. And also, I feel like my side comes out when people wrong my friends because I have a real big problem with people who punch down. And so I will always come and be like, maybe don't do that. Maybe people aren't used to standing up to you. So I'm going to do it. See how you go in this moment. Academic, you've got your hand up, and then I'll go to you, Darian. Mute.
I can't remember why I had my hand up. I think it had to do with Logan.
Yeah.
And
would you have a beer with Logan?
Of course I'd have a beer with Logan, a dark beer, of course. But I don't know if he's changing. I think that's what it was. I don't think Logan's changing at all.
Got it. The question was, is Logan genuinely changing or is he just exhausted?
And I think that he's always been like this. I think his berserker demeanor was a matter of circumstance. Like he's had to do that to survive, to live in the North. And now that his environment is easing up on him, where we get to see the thoughtful individual. Like he didn't become thoughtful because he fell into a river escaping the Shanker, right?
Yeah,
He must have already been like this, right? So yeah.
Yeah, it's just his circumstances allow him to relax somewhat, even though he is exhausted. Darren, you did a great comment earlier at a beautiful interaction between Logan and Giselle.
Yeah, Logan's trying to make friends. Did you say Darren or Darian?
Darren. Darren, your comment, sorry.
Yeah, he tries because he's like, we're going to be in this together and it's best. Well, it's also a survival thing because he's like, hey, if we're friends and we trust each other, then we're going to survive. And
you're more likely to want to save my life.
Surviving is Logan's number one, and that's just because that's been ingrained in him since forever and ever and ever. And so that's not something he can turn off.
But it's also still a nice quality because that kind of like gruff sort of guy is a lot more comfortable in their own company and aren't necessarily friendly. So this was technically a friendly gesture. And Giselle, of course, being way yeah, like, dude, stop being such an asshole. This is like someone you want as a friend. So that's the difference. Like, I would not be like Giselle in that way at all. I would be like, Logan, I want to be on your team so fast. Like immediately I would ally with is Bernadette poses an incredible question. Is Logan just an asexual Geralt? Sorry, that's a hard G for Geralt. I would not say he's asexual. I think it's been a while since he's been with a woman, but that's not because he doesn't want to or has no inclination. It's because he's literally been surviving and there's been no one around. But there was a moment where he's tumbling through an open roof and ends up landing on a bed with Pharaoh on top. And he's like, oh, wow, I'm finally in bed with a woman. This is not how I pictured it. And she's like, scratches at him, fuck you, pink. And like, you know, but there was also a time when Logan's kind of like looking around all starry eyed and like, you know, overwhelmed by this city, and he does see ladies of the night, and he even says, or like he sees one of them and he's like, wow, she's actually like, in terms of attractiveness on a whole scale, pretty average, but I'm excited because I'm less than average and I know what I can get. I will take her. And he like, before they get jumped in the street, the not the aviator, the
He was with
navigator.
the navigator,
The
Longfellow.
navigator gives him money to kind of take care of it, so he gets a little something,
He
something.
was on the way, and then they got mugged.
Oh yeah, that's right. Colleen
Yeah.
says he had a wife and children once, so like
Yeah.
he was a family man. Bernadette says, "I'm laughing." Yes, Darian.
No, I just wanted to add on to my point. Is actually was adding on to what Darren said. Like,
Yeah.
Logan is being treated poorly by assholes around him. The response naturally would be to be an asshole as well. He has the wherewithal to say, let me just step back and give this person space. Obviously, they're not being friendly, they're not taking on my gestures. I'm not going to be an asshole to them. I'm just going to step away. And that's a lot of maturity and emotional intelligence right there.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah. Which is probably why Logan's the most likable character.
yeah. So yeah, and also Logan definitely, is a horn dog. We just don't get to see it because he never gets a chance to. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be realistic about these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what he's always saying?
Yeah, I actually.
It's got to be realistic. He's just like, yeah, I don't really have the time for women, but I'd like to.
Yeah, I don't mind being in Logan's head. There's like a sense of almost safety there. Like I said, if I were in this world, I would partner up with him in a split second, knowing that he had my back. He's the most decent out of all of them here. And he doesn't lie. I really liked how even when he's meeting new people, he was very reserved, and hearing Glockter's take on Logan was fascinating. Glockter's clocking everything, right? He's constantly observing and collecting data on these people. And what he observes with Logan is that this is a man who doesn't say anything more than he needs to, doesn't talk unless asked a question, and that is a dangerous man. But then Logan is sitting down, basically airing all of the laundry for the enemy side, being like, don't do this, do this, make sure, you're going to get surrounded. And he's just yapping about all of the trade industry secrets, basically, on how to defeat them. And he even recognizes it. He's like, this is the most I've spoken in a very long time. And he's just like, and that's
he's
to
actually
West.
able to speak his own language with somebody like in a war, like battles.
Yes.
He's actually somebody who really understands what he has, his talent, essentially.
Yeah. He talks that language. He talks strategy. He talks war.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's not keeping that information and negotiating with it. He's actually really brutally, wonderfully honest. And I love that about him, honestly. Vaden says Logan is very practical, as evidenced by his response to the thieves. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's not out for blood for the sake of it. He's weighing up options. He's trying to defuse if defusing is necessary, and he's going to strike if that's necessary. Becky said, I would definitely be interested in hearing these conversations after another 2 books. Have you read them all? Is that what I'm hearing? Have you completed the trilogy at the moment? I also want to talk about the fact that in the second half of the book, pretty much every point of view is forced into a role that they didn't choose. So Logan, Glockter, and Jezal were all asked to join Bayaz in the key tomb catacomb-esque, whatever that thing. House of the Maker moment, where they all got violently ill by the magic kind of like repelling them from it, which wasn't affecting Bayaz at all. Then Logan gets enlisted to join that squad, where he had completely other massive plans, where he was going to lead his own sort of like captain of the part of an army to do his own thing in the war, which I actually predict that he's going to completely dodge a bullet and that everyone gets eviscerated in that war. And by him being told to go on this other adventure will actually save his life. But I do think that it's interesting because, they're all on different parts of the map. They're all slowly coming together, and we know what their goals are, and it's kind of being either taken from them or ushered in a different direction. Or like Pharaoh just wants vengeance. She's made that abundantly clear. And then Baez has somehow convinced her to join him so that she can seek the vengeance that she's after. So she's not.
Manipulated.
Yeah, and that's the
what
thing.
he's good at.
Is she forced into this role, or was she manipulated to choose that role? And is that different, or is it exactly the same thing?
I have a question. Just
yes, Darian.
Having not read the other 2 books as yet.
Yeah.
Do we know if Baez really is trustworthy?
We've got no idea, but at this particular moment, he's the one that can do the most, knows the most, understands the most. It feels like he's lived many lifetimes, and that the world has almost grown and forgotten what he knows. I think that this is the guy who's positioned, like Becky said, as asshole Gandalf. So
yeah,
I think he's the most fascinating character.
Yeah, I'll say one of my favorite moments was Pharaoh just overhearing a little bit of the exposition. So we don't know the full story. It's just these little snippets of the actual history between Baez and Kalul and Canadius and Juvens and all that.
I absolutely kind of zipped out a little bit during the exposition dumps.
But because it's just her eavesdropping on it, so we're just getting these tiny snippets with no context, and to me that was fascinating.
Okay, so that's exposition that doesn't sink in as well for me. There are some great comments happening here. Nisha is talking about Baez here being like, there is a statue to him in the main town. He had the key. He's so strong. I'm going to add in there, loves a bath. I really respect someone trying to stay clean in this gritty, grimdark universe. So more power to him. I trust him right now, and I agree. He almost beat out Glockter as my favorite when he got out of the bath and he was unfazed by his state. What was the point of view that was saying that, where they're like, this old man is just buck naked yelling at these very powerful people, and no one was laughing. It was a very serious moment. I will say that a lot of Joe Abercrombie's writing is cinematic like that, is very, I can see where every character is in that space, where the camera is shooting it. He really builds a strong picture, I think. Darian says Glockter is still #1 character in this book. Darian also asks, and maybe we do a poll for this. Maybe we can do it in the Discord even. Do we want to continue the series? Who is on board? Yes, no, maybe. Do you want to continue the First Law trilogy? Is this something that you would like to continue exploring? Darian says yes. Nisha says yes. Nick says yes. James says, yeah, look, I'm already doing it. I'm already halfway through the 2nd book. I could be down, actually. I'm really excited to interview Joe Abercrombie about this next Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Jimmy says no. Alicia says maybe. Occult says, as someone who's read the trilogy, I think it's worth it. I kind of love hearing from people who have read it, what we're in for, if it's a good time or not. Okay.
Maude.
Yeah.
I wanted to. Can I talk about Baez?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, let's get into it.
I don't mean to do this, but I feel like I end up being contradictory to a lot of things. Out of all the characters,
yep.
By the end of the book, I liked all of them more. And Baez started at the top and he went down for me.
Why is that?
So the vibe I get from him is he's been around for Asshole Gandalf is a great, perfect summary. But he's been around for so long. He knows so much that he is annoyed at the ants that are humans. Is like he thinks everyone should just do what he wants because he knows everything. He thinks everyone should just follow him and listen to him. He knows that he's the best. He's super arrogant. And it sucks because he is powerful and actually does know a lot, but he uses it narcissistically. He's not
Ooh.
like at his, I think he's not a good person. I think ultimately he's a narcissist.
Okay, so this is actually a really interesting, wonderful conversation. And it's actually coming up in a book that I'm reading right now with immortality. Immortality is a fascinating concept because I don't believe really that you can live, like the longer you live, the worse you become. Like I honestly think that that has to be what it is. And what you're talking about with Baez having narcissistic tendencies, not wanting to have the conversations, I think we could also agree that he's almost gatekeeping information. He's storing all that information. Glocta's trying to learn. Other people are trying to ask questions. He's shutting it down and he's controlling this narrative. He's informed and he's dictating how it goes completely. Colleen says, I'm in trouble then. Colleen, you are getting sweeter every year I know you. I'd love you to start getting a little sassy. I'd love you to start like provoking me just for the sake of your entertainment. Because we all know that if I live that old, that's 100% what I'm going to be doing. But that's a real concept when we, and I want to go read it again for June, Song of Achilles or anything that delves in like Greek mythology. We're going to be doing it next month for I, Medusa. And that is immortality creates narcissism, boredom, Messiah complex. Well, it's not even a Messiah complex because they kind of are. James says Song of Achilles. My sister gave me for Christmas and I can't wait to read it. James, it is so good. It is such a good book. I love it so much. Okol, exactly. The older you get, the less empathy you have. And is this what's happening with Baez? Is it a lack of empathy or is he just impatient with mundane or not being as clever or not being on his level? What do you think it is?
I'm glad you brought up empathy. The word I would use to describe him is he's very apathetic to other people due to, I think, what you just explained. Yeah.
And I feel like the people around him, they're tools, not people.
I have a comment.
Are you going to be sassy?
Probably not. I can be.
Oh, bless.
There are people who've known me for a long time. But I'm finding as I get older and I've had so many more experiences that it makes me more understanding of people. There's someone I just kind of made friends with who's suffered from addiction. And because I have a son who's nearly died twice because of drug addiction, I immediately connected with him. I don't feel any kind of judgment about that. I sort of feel that I can't judge other people because of my past life.
That's a really good point. Ken's saying the exact same thing, that his father gained more empathy the older that he got. I want to ask you this though, Colleen. What if I told you that your current age, you were about 1/10 of the way through your life expectancy, and you were in the same body that you had when you were about 25? Do you think that you would still feel this in another 600, 700, 800, 1,000 years?
I think that anything like immortality would be difficult because, for one thing, you'd lose a lot of people. And with Baez specifically, he was already plotting something. If you remember when he talked with Yue, was that his name? He has plans for Pharaoh that she may or may not survive. So as far as being a good person, no. I honestly am not sure how I would change. I think fatigue
Yeah.
Emotional fatigue
Yeah, okay.
would
If you
be if
see,
you lived that long.
I think I would get frustrated if I lived that long, seeing history repeat itself all the time. That cyclical mistakes and, the same thing occurring over and I would be really frustrated with be like, I can't tell you how this is gonna go. You're not gonna believe me. You're going to wanna see it through your way. You're gonna find out the hard way, and that is exhausting. And I think a lack of empathy can come from, if you care, you only get hurt because you'll only lose that person. So that can be really like you'd have to switch off. Nisha, this is why you and I feel like will immediately become fast friends. And that is, if I were immortal, I would be unstoppable and I would know it. Awesome. Everyone and everything is a tool to Baez. That is my impression, says Darian. And James says, back to Lord of the Rings, it comes off very elvish. Just run away. Who cares? Elves live forever. Why would Baez care? How many empires has he seen build and crumble? Exactly. Baez is involved in a bigger game, his battle with the prophet. That's it. And that's why everyone else has tools. And it kind of goes back to this villainy not necessarily being good versus bad. It is the greater good. Lisa, where are you?
Oh, great, oh, good.
Thank
I
you.
also have a thought here. I know we often say that what shows your true colors is like what you do when you're like down in the dumps, or like what when you're all the way down there. I think these stories where you are dealing with someone who is immortal, like that immortality does a much better job of like showing who you are, or at least they try to say that immortality shows you who you are as a person, because after the not just the loss of like, I guess, health, but also the people that you love, like when all of that is stripped back, do you care about people who you know are ephemerals, like in the Bobaverse series, I guess? Like what is it that drives you to still do good things when everyone that you know goes, right? And so, yeah, I don't know if Baez is good or bad. I think that he has a vision of what should be, and he is a little paternalistic in how he is driving others to fulfill whatever quest he's on.
I don't even know if it's paternalistic, where it's just like he's running the show. And I feel like because he knows more, like it very much is he's collecting tools for his tool belt. Darian, you made a really great comment. Baez is involved in a much bigger game here. It's not about the Gurkish Empire, the Union, that war. That means fucking nothing to him. The real issue is him versus the evil Magi. Like, there are longer lasting people that are really bad, and nothing else really matters because that's the greater threat. Compass says, I'm tired now. I don't want to do this for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
There we are.
Yeah. And
Darian.
we haven't even discussed exactly what's going on with this evil Magi Kalul. He's the prophet who's basically the power behind the throne of the Gurkish Empire. And there's this
because there's always a prophet. There's always another emperor. There's always
because
someone else.
Usman is just the king of the empire, that Gurkish Empire, but he is not, the real power behind the throne. It's another Magi, and we are getting teased about the second law.
Yes, the first law is
man.
The first law is I thought that was the first one. The second is
first law is don't touch the other side.
Oh wait, no, it's isn't the magic comes from the other side?
Yeah, so the first law is you're forbidden to touch the other side because that's where magic comes from. And the second law is don't eat the flesh of men, and we don't really know much about that except
the twins.
These
twins,
people,
the guy and the girl, the eaters, they have obviously consumed flesh. Oh my god, that reminds me of I think I had a dream where I had to eat someone to live. Oh, that's dark.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Just to tie that in, there's an eater in the Agriant, because when Glocta had his nightmare, and I think Logan had his nightmare where buyers came and blew up the apartment, they found like a dead body that was like eaten the next day. So there's an eater right there in the city.
What do you think it is? And also, hold on. Brush Kid said, I could see both sides. You could be very cynical or you could be empathetic if you lived forever. Yeah, I think that's what we're saying. It's like, it was just a dream, guys. It's just a dream. Like, I was talking about the book, It Plants the Seed. Has anyone ever had zombie dreams? Happens all the time. My gosh. Where was I going with this? Darren, you had your hand up earlier about who the major threat is, what the real story is.
Oh, I was just going to say that Khalul is one of Yuvin's apprentices, like Baez is. He's mentioned that he went, that when Yuvins was killed by the Master Maker, all of his apprentices went to go confront the Master Maker, but Khalul was the one that was absent. He didn't go.
I missed a bit.
And then Khalul he's creating an army of eaters in the south. So it's the Gurkish is a big enemy, but it's mostly because of Khalul as the prophet driving them. He's using the Gurkish as like a weapon, that he's wielding it as a weapon against.
And the Gurkish are in the south, right? So that's a threat happening to the south, but it's the guy starting with B in the north who's also threatening to take over because they denied the challenger.
And that's where Farah was in the south. She was basically a prisoner in the Gurkish. The Gurkish sort of conquer and turn everyone they conquer into slaves, and she was one of them who then escaped.
Oh my God, guys. How do you know this in the chat? You thought I was bad. Yikes. That's fun. I don't eat pig, so phew. Reminds me of Game of Thrones. Oh, there you go. There was a bit of a showdown between those two twins. The woman is gorgeous and she can basically use her voice to will you to do things. So she gets you to slow down, to sleep, stop. And so hers is sort of like a voice control. What's his situation? The brother, he just plays with his food by the sounds of it. What's his magical ability? And also, Katie, what does the brother and sister twin duo, what book does that remind you of? What was this taken from? Anyone? We've all read it. If you read the bonus books. In Prithian, when Feyre is pretending to fall back in love with Tamlin, there was a guy and a girl twins, and they would attack through the mind, and Feyre learned to block it out. Where are you, Katie? I feel like I'm so alone here.
I know who you're talking about. The people from the island. Yeah. I did not connect that at all.
Oh, really?
When you started
I was
talking about
like,
Prithian, I was like, are you talking about the witch and the death god? Like how they're siblings? That's where I thought you were going with it.
Oh, no. Yeah, they were like a blink and you miss it, but they were a bit of a pest in the end of the second book. And they would like kind of torture Feyre and they kind of knew her secret. But I got the same energy from that.
Yeah, I could see it. But I was listening to this book at 2.7 speed, just trying to finish it because I was over it.
2.7 speed, I don't think is can you hear it? Does it absorb can we test it?
I did it.
2.7.
I'm right there with you, Katie. Yeah, I was up there.
7?
Yeah.
2.7.
2.7.
I listen to YouTube videos on 4x, all right? Like 2.7 is nothing.
You can't even hear anything.
2.7 is crazy. Nisha says it sounds like chipmunks. The witch in the house and the one in the prison. No. This is the it was end of book 2. They were a part of, what's the king's name? Hellborn. What's his fucking name? Hybern. Yeah, they were part of Hybern's army.
Okay, so you're talking about Brenna and Dagden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And she kills
them
pretty quickly, but they wanted to like mess with the. They would always lure in the religious humans to kill for fun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was.
I was looking at like Brenda was the niece of King Hyber, and the brother, of course, is the nephew.
Oh, got it. Oh, they were the niece and nephew. Well, there you go. So that's who it reminds me of. But I will say in the second half of the book, I am seeing tropes a little bit more with Logan's thrill and with like the twins that had the abilities. So I just think it's kind of funny that if you want to write a book, just handpick all your favorite things and just pop them in. Like, just go for it, I reckon. Why not? Let's talk about Jez, and then we'll go into Glockta. Jez, we can get through pretty quickly. He wins the competition, and Glockta is pissed beyond belief that he won because there was cheating involved. Why did Bayaz give him energy boosts to win the competition? What's Bayaz's stake in this? Why does he want Jezzel on his squad? Why did Jezzel have to win the competition? Why couldn't it be Gorge or whatever his name was, Goyle, or I don't know, the zombie dude who had no emotion somehow? Yeah, he wants to use him, but why? His dad knew something about it? Ooh, what's that?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened exactly, but yeah, I didn't. When he said the name Baez, his dad was clearly like noticed that and was concerned.
Took note of it.
Yeah, it was like something. So he has probably some history with him. For what reason? I don't know.
His self-image is starting to crack. Bro's falling in love for the first time. I kind of love that. And I had a thought about that. And I truly believe that a man falling in love with a woman actually makes him want to be a better person. Can we agree with that? To all the men that fell in love or have fallen in love or got married, did you want to be a better person for your partner?
Well, yeah. I hope so.
Yes, and I don't think that's 100% true all the time.
Oh.
I'm a romantic.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. That's law.
Yes. Did she make me a better person? Not really.
I know lots of people who are in relationships where that was not, or at least stayed the same, and
well, what
whatever
about
bad state they
falling
were
in love? Not staying in love, but falling in love.
Yeah, no, like super self-centered folks. Like that's what Jezzel was coded to me as, and he proved me wrong. But I know lots of people who were not better as a result of quote unquote falling in love, which makes you wonder, did they actually fall in love or were they just going through the motions to get something?
Ooh. Yeah, were they also like Bayaz and they're just collecting tools for their toolkit, which makes them a tool themselves. Brushkid says it's a side effect of marriage, wanting to be a better person. All people want to appear better. Only good people do it by trying to be better. Well said, Occult Stool. Picture the first date version. The guy seems to want to be better, in my experience. I do feel like, when you're starting to fall in love, and it was kind of beautiful to see it from Jezzel. He's like, what is happening to me? I can't stop thinking about her. I want to be better. Like, I want to impress her. This is like someone who, when I look at her, she's the most beautiful person I've ever seen. I'm like, that's sweet. Darian, your hand's raised. Is that for this conversation or did it stay up? Open queue. Open sesame.
Oh, I think it was up before, but I just want to make one thing with Jezzel was with the duel, the contest.
Yes.
Where Brahmadan Ghost was clearly the better fencer.
Dude, he didn't tire at all.
Yeah.
He was not maxing out. I reckon it's like he was a zombie.
Jezzel was so high on his own supply afterwards. The thing is that Brahma was the first to congratulate him after losing. I don't think Jezzel would have been congratulating Brahmadan if he lost instead,
My headphone just disconnected. Can you finish the last part?
Yeah. I'm just saying.
You said I don't think.
I don't think Giselle would have congratulated Brahmadan Ghost if Giselle lost the same way Brahmadan lost and he was the first to congratulate Giselle.
100%. No, Giselle's ego is fucking
He's
massive.
so high on his own supply. He's like, the guy, the high marshal who trained him, I don't need him anymore. He was holding me back. It's like
his ego is pretty fragile though, and we're starting to see that a little bit more. I think if you stop being bad to get laid, that doesn't make you good. Well, that's if the agenda is just to get laid. I'm talking about having a partner. Like if your goal is just sex, then yeah, you're just taking, aren't you? This is like you're giving into something that like will sustain, because it's a partnership is what I'm going for. God, you got people. What happened to romance? Like, why aren't we all romantics? Why isn't that like everyone's goal? Am I just a Pisces?
The world happened to us.
Nah, that's one thing that will never change. I will always be a romantic to a fault every time. I'm a Pisces. It is how we are built.
I think if that were true, there would be fewer abused spouses.
Wouldn't that be nice? That's the goal. Yeah.
And it's not always just sex, right? Like they want a partner that will do everything for them, which is not
want to
partnership.
Control them. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I really wanted to emphasize partnership for that exact thing. And I feel like when we're talking to Giselle's not like sex on tap. Yes. He's like, I want to be better for her. I want to be the best version of myself because that's what I feel she deserves. You don't think he's like that?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't. I think he might be getting there, but I don't think that's where he is right now. What I think is this is a mountain he has not been able to climb before, which is someone who does not fit the mold of someone who should obviously adore him. Like this is another woman, and he's been with women before, and he's like they obviously all love me, and this is the first time he's come across something that someone that doesn't fit that mold, and so he's like, okay, now I've got to conquer this other. I
don't think he sees her as a conquest. I feel like he's interested because she is breaking the mold of being obsessed out the gate with him. I think he's also really struggling with society. He is noble, of noble birth. She is not. And he's actually worried about ruining her. He does not want to have his way and take everything he wants from her and be like, cool, I got what I wanted. He's like really trying to avoid disaster and hurting her. So that's also, I don't know. I'm always going to have rose-colored glasses on with that because, like, I read romance books and I see these tropes and I might be filling in the blanks from time to time, being like, oh, his intentions are a bit better because that's what romance is all about. And so that's why these conversations are good. Thank you, James.
Don't worry. You see it clearly. I'm with you, though. There are many, I have reasons for it.
Of what, wanting to be romantic or being a romantic?
Well, for reasons, that Jezzel is not, that he is just in love with this woman and wants to be better. There are moments where if you can recall the scene where he goes over, she's drunk, they start talking, she starts like calling him out and attacking and poking at his ego. And he actually just leaves, and he doesn't end up blowing up on her. He doesn't, but he doesn't do what a egotistical man would do in that moment, which West shows us what a man would do in that situation. Not just any man, but like an egotistical piece of shit man.
Yeah,
West does, and he snaps and beats the shit out of her, and like. But Jezzel walks away and under his breath calls her a bitch when he's outside. But then actually, like, so I think he's struggling with like, oh my gosh, I can't be mean to this girl. I love her. And he's struggling with it, but he wants to. He does not want to.
I actually really like that point that you're bringing up, James. If he is so driven by ego and she shattered his ego, and usually that involves a retaliation, right? Someone who's had their ego battered. The immediate response is, I must destroy or hurt or bring you down because you've hurt me and my ego. So it's always like, well, yeah, well, you're this, and this. You're nothing. You'll never get anywhere. Make sure that you know that you're worthless, as a way to kind of build up their esteem again. He doesn't do any of that. Ding. So yeah, I hear you on that. But this is Grimmark, Maude, says Academic. It's like Column and Jezzel at the yin and yang of each other, says Darian. Jezzel
like
just doesn't like the thought that not everyone loves him, says Compass. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, one is like from a noble family, one is a commoner who's risen up through the ranks. Giselle is an asshole who does one decent thing, and Column is a mostly decent guy who does something so abhorrent in the moment. It's so kind of like
but
an
which
inverse
ones?
of each other.
And neither of them are like great.
And based on that alone, Jezzel is infinitely weighed higher than West.
Because he snapped and he turned violent.
Yeah.
He did. He did. He snapped.
Yeah.
And Jezzel hasn't necessarily done that.
And I still love West. This was not an attack on West. I love his character. But
it's interesting seeing what it does to Artie. There was a really haunting moment where West, and sorry for there's a graphic warning of I guess physical assault against women. But there was a moment where he's literally got his hands around her throat and she's dead behind the eyes. She's not scared.
Mm-hmm.
She's just staring him down, being like, okay, do it.
Yeah. And she's lived through this before.
And she brings that up. She was like, you're supposed to protect me. You left. You think it stopped? No, it got worse. Like, I'm constantly, told that she's less. The reason why she can say that to Jezzel, she ran out of fucks a while ago. She is all spent on fuckage, which, like, I get it. I get that. So my question that I have with Jezzel then is he becoming a better person, or is he better at pretending? Yes, Katch, you've had your hand up for a while. So while we talk about that answer, and Vaden, I see your hands raised.
I was just thinking that, and like I said, I have not finished the book. I'm nowhere even close, but Jezzel still reads to me as somebody who's only really interested in Artie because she's not interested in him right away. Like, she's not immediately obsessed with him, and he doesn't know why, and that's what makes him interested. And it's the same as when he meets the other soldier's sister, and she's immediately fawning over him, and he's like, meh, it's whatever. But it's because he's so used to that behavior, and he's already got this other, like, fascination. I don't even think it's love. It's fascination, because he's like, I don't get
No, he does. It turns into
she's
love, though.
treating me this way.
It turns into love.
I'm
That was a
like I
point
said,
of difference.
I haven't
I
read
can't
it, but
tell you,
that's
and
just
this
my
is
read on him.
this is what happens a lot, I feel. There is data and evidence supporting this as well. But if a relationship only works when you both want the exact same thing. So when someone likes you more, or when you like them more, it's almost disastrous. So when you're in a situation and they like you so much more than you like them, you're turned off by it. I know for a fact that I always attract people that they like me a hell of a lot. And I'm like, but the ones that I really like don't like me back. That's how that happens, right? So are we all getting shitty at Jezzel because that's literally how it goes? This is someone who challenged him for the first time. That is exciting. That is different. That's somewhat dangerous. This is breaking a norm. And I think it's encouraging him to break the stigma of what it means to be noble. Because I feel like he still struggles with what he has to do, which is marry in his rank, and what he wants to do, which is, hang out with this girl who completely rebukes what it means to have, the noble progression. And he has these interactions with the princess, like they're all talking about how gorgeous she is. And he's like, she's fucking boring. And I think he's seeing that, like, noble means safe and predictable and, contained. And here's someone who just gets to live loudly. And I think that that's really exciting, but it also comes with a consequence. She's a no-go girl. There is, like, society states that he cannot be with her. He cannot marry her. He'll be an outcast if he does that. And so now he wants the thing that he can't have, which, again, really fucking normal. So I ain't mad that Jezza likes her just because she doesn't like him. That's how this goes, guys. Like, that's life.
But doesn't she like him? Like the
She
very
does.
first time they're
She's-
together, she's like hitting on him.
Yes, and she's sending him notes. She's pursuing him actively. Meet me
Yes.
at the same time, at the same place. She's writing it. He is not necessarily pursuing it. He's trying to be a good friend. He knows also that he can ruin her, and he does not want to do that. There's a lot of Jezzel hate, and I am going to defend parts of his behavior, not him, but parts of his behavior. So do you think he's getting better, or is he better at pretending? I think he's slowly becoming better, but at the same time, I don't want to hear Jeff in all caps be like, that's because you haven't read the rest of the books. At this current point, I can see him. I've seen his parts of his personality change for the better. He is still always going to be a product of his rank, and that means that he is entitled and feels that he's better than everyone else, which is gross. But that's the question. Is he getting better, or is he better at pretending? Cool. No one likes Jezzel enough to delve into that anymore. Let's talk about...
I can say.
Oh, you guys do?
Yeah, sorry.
We'll go Colleen, then Vaden.
I think he thinks he's being sincere. I don't think he's pretending, but I don't know how deep this is. It might not be more than just, because he can't have her and the challenge. But he really, what he's doing is true to what he's feeling at the moment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's unexplored terrain for him for sure. And I think the catalyst was that she treated him differently, and that's the hook. But now he's actually seeing it through. Is that what you mean? Is that what you mean? In a way, I got distracted by a thought that crept into my head, and that was, there is absolutely no way that Jezzel doesn't know that he didn't outright win it himself, the competition, the contest. He has to have known that he got these bursts of energy. No, that's the thing. He's so in denial. He truly thinks he is that great that he can just get these unnatural bursts where he's dead to the world and can barely lift his arm, and then he can just clean up. And he's like, yeah, that's all me. Never questioned it. Lol, this is where the idiot Jezzel comes in. Okay. Gaston, says Nisha.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't think he's pretending. Jezzel's pretending because, and what's one thing I actually love about these kind of books in general is that gain people's perspective, gain people's points of view. If we didn't see in his head, I would be suspicious of him. I would think he was just pretending. I wouldn't know that. But because we actually see his thoughts and actually get to see him, what he actually thinks specifically, then I can see that he's not pretending. He is truly confused.
It's genuine. Yeah,
it's genuine. He doesn't know what's going on. Like it's his whole new territory for him, as you said. Like he's so used to being the noble, using all this thing. But I think a lot of it also has to do with his friendship with Colum. Because his friendship with Colum, he became friends with the commoner, and respected him a lot, and that eventually started the path of making him less of a jerk and asshole in general, and
I think
eventually
really
ended
good
this.
For him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he needed that to essentially get to this point. Otherwise, he wouldn't have liked her. I think he would have brushed her aside and thought of her as just another commoner and gone on with his life.
I like it. We've spoken about Logan. We've spoken about Jezzel. We had a go at Baez. One of my questions that I had about Baez, just to completely 180 here, is we were talking about everyone around him becomes a chess piece. The scale of his ambition becomes clear. Is he more dangerous because he thinks he's right?
Oh, that is the ultimate danger.
Okay, cool. Is he protecting the world, or is he owning it?
I think the most accurate thing we have to be worried about is what his fellow Magi said, that Baez is willing to turn the world to ash to just beat Kalul.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like,
to whatever
like,
end.
I guess
yeah.
He's like, yeah, the ends justify the means for him, I guess. So.
Nisha, you got your hand up?
Oh yeah, on Bias, I think he is. He is trying to just fix everything, and he's dangerous, knowing that believing that I think he can. Like he said, I was here like as two different people. He was in that same city like throughout his time, and I think he did think everyone was like, oh yeah, that guy did good. That guy did good. I feel like he's just on that vibe that I know the answer. I'm gonna fix it. I've got this perfect crew.
If they do exactly as he says.
Yes.
He's trying to own it, says Sprinkles. Occult says might equals right. In this case, I feel like that's exactly what Baez is. He's got the might, so he's got to be right. Let's start talking about sort of. Oh yes, Colleen.
I think if he thinks he's right, then he probably thinks he is saving the world.
Yeah, he does.
Rather than owning it. I don't know that he is self-aware enough for anything but believing that he is right, and therefore his decisions are right.
I wonder if he doesn't think that he's saving the world. I think he's going to try and do what he can to stop it from ending. Is there a difference, though? Is there a difference?
Well, do you mean?
I think there's a difference.
If you interpret saving as making it better, then maybe not.
Yeah,
but if you interpret evil. Saving as just keeping it from stopping, then yeah, he thinks he's saving it.
Okay, yeah. I think he's been on this quest for so long that he doesn't see anything else, says Compass. No, Zelda's not there. She's abandoned me. I give her everything, and she still leaves me. It's fine. It's fine. Let's talk about Pharaoh, Dogman, and the supporting cast. So Pharaoh's rage gets sharper and more personal. Do you think that she's becoming more three-dimensional, or is she really just a one-trick pony? Is she just a one-trained thought and has only one agenda? Are we getting shades of grey of Pharaoh? No, says Darian.
She's not much of a character to me at this point. I'm assuming she gets more development in the other two books.
Yeah.
I think we kind of saw a little bit of a change. Like Pharaoh was like all about fighting. And then she actually tries to help when Logan, she's like, come on, keep up with me. She doesn't like throw him to the wind.
She does not abandon him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think she would try to lift him and drag him like what Logan did with Kwai if she was strong enough. But she's just like using the psyche of like, come on, wake up. This is last chance or I'm leaving you. Pharaoh could have let Logan die, but chose not to at a cost. There you go. Vaden says that. Do you think the Dogman shows what leadership looks like? Leadership without ego looks like? Does the Dogman do what needs to be done? I'm going to be honest. I actually probably tune out the most with his chapters because I've seen so little of him. And so when he shows up, I'm like, and then halfway through the chapter, I'm like, oh, that's who he is. And there's a bit more of a disconnect. Random question, says Nisha. Does anyone know what the signal is? Nah. Negative.
With Logan's friends, I think they're kind of doing the best they can with what they understand, and I think they always relied on Logan as a leader, and now with Logan gone, at one point there was a lot of arguing about who was supposed to be the leader, and
now it's apparent
they seem to have kind of worked that out. But yeah, they're still missing Logan, I think.
And I feel like they're going through like, the usual tests. We're going to send in this guy to get answers while we scout and while we like position ourselves outside. And then the soldiers drop his head off in a bag and they're like, oh shit. So what used to work doesn't necessarily work. I love seeing the impact that Logan had on them, says James. Occult still says it's a power vacuum for sure. KP Dub says this was a real eureka moment when I found this out. Yeah, I guess I'd like to see more of them.
He's KP's referring to the Eureka moment because Eureka is a brand of vacuum cleaner.
I didn't know that. Of course it was a pun. KP, Colleen had to explain a joke to me. I will sit in the shame for a second. Bugger. What else we got? Who in this story actually has agency?
Baez.
Yeah, Baez is the only one I can think of, really.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the one.
Salt.
Depends on agency and how you would define that.
Okay.
Because no one is forced. They're just all very perfectly manipulated by Baez on why they really should go with him.
I mean, I would listen to him. I'll be honest. If Baez came
I would be there too.
Yep. If he says jump this high, I'd be like, oh, up I go. Like, he's the only one that like I would actually follow at this stage. And I would be a pawn on his chess game, and I would probably be sacrificed for what he believes is the greater good, and I would walk into my doom unbeknownst, but I'd still listen to him more than anyone else. Go figure. Glockter is basically told to leave or die. And the fact that he would kind of like to die is really funny. I kind of had the thought as well that Glockter is the only one who truly understands the world that he's living in. Is that like a fair assessment? Everyone else has a little bit of denial or delusion, but Glockter knows the harsh truths. He's seeing everything for the game that it is. When he's the arch proctor, what is it?
Lector.
Arch Lecter. Yeah, Arch Lecter is like chewing him out, replacing Goyle, who was doing that role before him. He's like reading into everything, and he can see when the Arch Lecter fumbles. He can see why these decisions are being made. Like he's Glockter clocks it. Pharaoh's feral. I'm going to try and find out the rest of them for the names. Logan likes Rogan. I'm still workshopping it.
Glockter is basically Tyrion Lannister of this, like, just super perceptive, underestimated all the time.
Yeah, okay. But not nearly as funny.
True. He cracks jokes to himself internally. He doesn't say them out loud at all. So.
Oh my God, when Glockter found out that West tried to visit him twice, and it was his mother that turned him away and made him feel isolated.
That was a really good moment.
He nearly cries. He couldn't believe that someone was a friend to him. And so immediately because he was, because of that, making himself an outcast, cutting everyone off because he thought that no one deserved it. And he was like a little bit woe is me in that regard. And then when he found out that West not once but twice came to visit him, and then West goes, also, I need you to check in on my sister. He's like, oh my God, I get to be a friend. Someone who is a friend of mine who went to check in on me is asking me to do something for them. That is an honor. I will absolutely step up. Pun kind of intended to the challenge.
And one thing was the first interaction between Ardy and Glockter from the first half of the book. She sees Glockter as the man he always was. She doesn't see him as a cripple. She's unaffected by that at all. She really does.
She sees
know
him.
Glockter the person, not Glockter the Inquisitor.
Which again, I think maybe Ardy's got the most agency here.
Yeah.
She's someone who is probably the most unapologetically herself. Fuck the consequences.
Yeah.
She's probably got the most decency, like with seeing Glockter for who he is. Yeah, okay. I like all that. Yeah. Which side characters feel more heroic than the main ones? There are no heroes in this story, are there?
I would say Brahmadan Ghost for his very short appearance because he lost the he was a graceful competitor. You know, he was like, I want to be the first to congratulate you. That's a good sign. Yeah.
Dogman's heroic. Logan's crew. Dogman because Bethard seems to be a monster. Foley is heroic. Foley is the weakest. Went to warn Bethard about the Shanker and died for it. Honor is dead and no one's really doing anything.
Yeah.
And Sprinkle says it depends on your definition of a hero. Don't it just? The fighter that lost, he genuinely congratulated a cheater. Yeah, that's what you're saying, Darian. Yeah, okay. I feel like one of the themes here is that violence is easy, but change is rare. And so is plot. The real villain, do you agree or disagree that the real villains don't swing swords?
I can agree to that. They get other people to swing swords.
Glockta is only as good as his two, what do they call them? Starts with a P.
Practicals.
Yeah. Because he does not have, like, I mean, someone can just push him over and he's done for. Yeah. But it's because he's got Frost and he's got the guy that starts with S, who I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to... Severard. Yeah. But, like, he's only as good as those because those two follow him.
Yeah.
They're the ones doing all the torture. They're the ones doing all the violence. They are the muscle. He's the brains. Good intentions don't survive proximity to power. True or false? It's very hard to have good intentions around the proximity of
I think it gets
power.
harder the closer you get, we could say.
Erodes it quickly.
What or who do you think is actually driving the story? If we could put and place a plot in here, who or what is driving the story?
It's this looming conflict between Baez and Khalul and whatever going on with the other side. That's, we don't see much of it, but that's really
the main thing. Well, then you've just subscribed to Baez's manipulation, haven't you? Because there are things that are happening in this book that will happen, that will have consequence, that are driving the plot. But you just got subscribed into Baez's team, Darian. Hook, line, and sinker, I'm afraid.
As long as I'm able to be buddies with Logan along the way, I think that's good.
Yeah, you can replace Jezzel.
Yeah.
Just wants a friend. Just waiting for a mate.
I'll be Logan's friend.
I think there's more. Sorry. I think there's more than one plot.
Go on.
Developing.
Let's go.
Well, we have what Baez is planning, but apart from that, we have some people who are desperate for power. So you've got the wars going on.
I think the union's going to get obliterated.
Logan's crew. Well, they're so full of themselves. They're way too arrogant and convinced that they're the best.
That really interesting.
Reminds me of some people that are present.
It was a really interesting part where Wes is more informed about the goings on that is happening. He's understanding just how vulnerable a position the Union is in. And then all of his sort of like soldiers in his cotillion, what do you call it? They have this delusion that they're just going to whip off to war for the summer and be back in time for dinner. And I think it's West, right? And he just snaps. And he's like, we're fucked, guys. You don't understand just how rooted we are in this position. We're not just going to come back for a hot meal 3 days later. This is a lot more serious than you have any idea of knowing. And then he had to almost apologize and build the delusion back up so that he wouldn't completely obliterate morale. That was an interesting moment. But that was another time where Wes snapped. Wes has headaches. He's tired. He's being beaten down. He snaps. And he punched down on his sister.
Yeah. I mean, that's why he had to like snap at the master of the forgers. Like, these guys need weapons, and this guy's like, hung up on a bureaucracy of, the other marshals have to take care of their soldiers. Like, no, like, you guys, people are going to the north, they're gonna die. Like, people need to be armed. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's like, going to war, like, starting a race by shooting yourself in the foot,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he needs to think that there's a fighting chance to actually survive it before they've lost, day one. Occult says that the plot is Baez's quest for the seed, aka the MacGuffin. KP says that the plot is just the search for unlimited power, one might say. That's when you would have used the Discord sound. I know it for a fact. Let's go on to our next questions as we wrap up this discussion. What would victory mean in this world?
I said in this book, action happening would be victory for us.
Any action happening? Yeah. I feel like at the moment it's like they're trying to avoid a worst case scenario. So a victory is not a worst case scenario. It's anything up from that. What? I missed a joke. No, I didn't. Good.
No, I was in Discord and you weren't. That's all.
Oh, got it. Who in this story is actually being honest with themselves? I think Jezel's trying to. I think he's coming to terms with being honest with himself, with his situation and, his impact that he's having on Artie. And I think it's confronting for him.
Barely, even though I am a Jezel lover. I think I've seen more of it, though. He's on the track, so we're seeing it. But I think Logan is definitely, fits the category best. What was it again? You're saying being honest with themselves?
Yeah, with themselves.
Yeah. I think Logan finally is one of the prime examples of looking back at what he's really done.
He's honest outwardly, but is he kind of in denial about Bloody Nine Fingers?
I think Logan is wrestling with his existing identity and who he wants to be. So I don't think he has an honesty with himself just yet. I think he's definitely honest with everybody around him. As I said, he's outwardly honest. I think the person who's most outwardly honest is Artie West.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She is. She is not sugarcoating anything.
Yeah. Jezel is honest internally, but he is such a closed book. He doesn't reveal to anybody what he's thinking.
Yeah.
So the most honest person would be Artie because she's both internal and external.
Yeah. Occult says this world and time reminds me kind of like World War One, where there's multiple grey factions. Most aren't a clear right or wrong side. I get that. Viola Toe joins the chat saying power, the empires fight for control, and land as Baez pulls the real strings. And someone else, Pianki said a victory would be no corrupt leaders and the war ending. That would be lovely. Nisha says, look, I hate to sound like a broken record, but Glokta is so real and honest. I think Glokta is probably the most not externally honest because he's playing the game. And to play the game, you have to choose your honesty and where that goes. But his dialogue, his internal monologue's great. He's absolutely honest in his internal monologue. He knows who he is. He knows his strengths and weaknesses. He knows that he's in this game. Yeah, I agree with you, Nisha, completely. I think the person being most honest with themselves, I like that it's Artie, and I also agree that it's Glokta. Do you think the second half of the book is slow? Or do you think it picked up a little bit?
I like that they met each other, so I thought it picked up.
I agree.
A lot for me, yeah.
Yeah. Books. Boko Club. Pianki says the second half definitely picks up. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with that one. Vane says, yeah, picked up a lot for me too. Do you think anyone gets somewhat of a redemption arc? Or is just everyone experiencing consequences of actions?
I don't think there's any redemption really as yet. All we have is the closest we have to that is just like amendment of defenses between West and Glocta.
Darren, I like that. It's like there's no redemption, but there's also no real consequences yet.
Yeah, nothing's really happened to anybody for the things that they've done.
Logan doesn't have all of his fingers.
But that was well before any of this started happening.
And Glocta's consequence of like being what he thought was abandoned in a previous war, that had massive consequences. The consequence of his mother turning his friends away. What a witch. Is the ending supposed to feel unsatisfying?
I don't know. Like, it feels so strange the way it ends. Like, it's like, okay, we got everyone. Cool. Bye.
Bye.
Like, it's just like, what?
So yeah. Yeah.
Like,
okay.
There should at least be a clear, like, this is what we're doing next. Like, at least that give you that cliffhanger, give you something to anticipate, something to look forward to. But it's like, no, we're just like, we're going now. Cool. We're going somewhere else. Great. What's there? I don't know.
Another book.
You'll find out. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
That's like,
and it's not even like, stay tuned for more.
Yeah.
It's just like, bye.
Yep.
I like what KP says. The end justifies the meanness of the characters. It's the Fellowship of the Seed, says Occult Stool. We're going on a wizard's quest, says Phantom Aria. We just don't know what. We don't know what, though. Also, going back to redemption, Nisha points out that Glocta was so mean to everyone and now is looking out for the sister. So, in a way, that is like slight redemption. Maybe it's more change. It's more he's changing his ways. Darian, you've got a quote from the book here. Hughes placed 2 known structures on his sons and their followers to obey his laws. So the first law, it is forbidden to touch the other side direct, forbidden to communicate with the world below, forbidden to summon demons. Oh my God, we're going to get demons? Fuck yeah. That's sick. Oh, buckle up. I'm down for demon stuff. Forbidden to open the gates to hell. The first law is filled with contradictions. All magic comes from the other side. The sons of Iz and the other devil bloods are part demon. The second law, that it is forbidden to eat the flesh of men. The second law precludes eating human flesh in order to absorb magical powers, means becoming an eater. Look, I really like how they've drizzled magic throughout. I love how Baez is like, no, I can't do it. No, I couldn't possibly do it. No, I can't do it. Fine, I'm going to explode your chair out from under you. And then the fact that that other guy who found Pharaoh was like, I can smell that you've used magic. And he's like, look, sometimes we just have to do what we need to do, okay? And he's getting pushed by society to prove his magic. And so he finally snapped and did it.
Also, the magic, the guy, I can't remember his name, who picked up Pharaoh, he turned somebody's bones to water.
Yes, and then boiled someone else from the inside. Right? Sick. Cool. This is the thing. It's like, and this is, again, really similar to Game of Thrones, where it's like, on the whole, no one's really magical. And then all of a sudden, these dire wolves find every single child of the King of the North, or like, who was the Ward of the North, the first hand. And then all of a sudden, there's dragons. That was something that never happened before. Oh, and then there's a shadow demon woman giving birth to a shadow baby. So it's like, on a whole, there's not much magic, but then when it does come in there, you're just kind of a bit shooketh, and you're like, oh, that's right, we're in a fantasy here, and there is magic. And if you've got magic, you hold power that an average person does not possess. So when the magic is in play, I am sat. Like, I love that. And I know that a big problem that we had with Jade City was that there just wasn't enough of that magic kind of trickling in through the story. It was more about it existed, but it wasn't utilized. And a big problem that I had is if that magic's going to be there and they're in the mafia, they're going to be fighting for that power and using that power and using that magic so much more than the people that don't have it. KP Dub says, Maude, I don't know if you know this, but the Assassin's Apprentice series gets dragons later, like lots of dragons. Didn't give enough of a shit to get there, though. And maybe some people feel that way about the First Law. I'm enjoying the First Law more than I liked Assassin's Apprentice. I thought that book was dull. I thought that nothing happened in that one. There is no dragon romance, though. Well, that's time, everyone. Would you live in this universe? Not me. No, thank you. No, thanks. I would much rather be almost anywhere else than this place. Actually, there's always something worse, isn't there?
I don't want to be eaten, so.
Oh, yeah. That would be, that's a fear I have. And, it's pretty reasonable growing up in Australia. I just don't want to be digested by an animal and pooped out. Like, that would suck. I don't want to be digested. That's a bad way to go. Hey, guess what? We've just finished our first book of the year for Moore's Book Club 2026. Because we don't have sound effects, so I'm just going to make that one. We've got a bonus book for January. We are going to be reading it by next week, so get to it. We have 1 week to finish a book called Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. The good news, it's a pretty short book. It is a pretty short book. I believe that the audiobook's only about 7.5 hours. So if you're listening to it at 2 trillion, you'll be done in 4 seconds. But that one should be an easier read. It's essentially almost the same pages, or no, maybe as half of the book there. So we've got a shorter book for a main book. Now, this is a classic. We're diving into classics from time to time. Kurt Vonnegut is a very well-known author who has written very prolific books. I've not dived in yet. I've not done Slaughterhouse 5. I've not done any of Kurt's work. I've had this book that, rude. All right, we finished it, so whatever. I finished Cat's Cradle and they stuck the landing, says Occult Stool. Yay! Easy one workday, says Byla. Yay! We're doing this on the 29th. Is that what it is? We've actually got 2 weeks between it. We got 2 weeks to read it? We got 2 weeks to read it. Hell yeah, guys. Take your time. Good, because I tried to borrow it from the library for the audiobook because I have the physical book, and it was like, there's a 5-week wait. And I was like, what? Okay. Next week, we have our Q&A with Joe Abercrombie. Guess what? Members, if you are in the $5 or higher tiers on Patreon, you get access to the question document where you can ask Joe your questions. And I'll be having that interview Friday, 1 p.m. on the 23rd of January, 1 p.m. PT, because Joe is in London and it will be 9 p.m. PT for him. So we are going to have to just switch the date and time for that, 4 p.m. Eastern on a Friday. Join us Friday afternoon on Bridgerton Season 4 premiere day, says Gaia. Oh, I'm going to be binging that straight away. The book that I'm reading at the moment is called The Rose Bargain, and it's kind of Bridgerton meets Dark Fae. I'm really enjoying it, if anyone wants a recommendation. And Nisha, you didn't tell me what you've been reading. I didn't catch it. Nick said, I hated Slaughterhouse 5 when I read it about a decade ago, so I'm going to skip this one. Did you read the premise of what this one's about, though? I think they're quite different. But if you hated it, you hated it. Did someone else unmute to start talking?
This one's funny. I think there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek feeling about this book.
With Cat's Cradle? Yeah, it's satire. Nisha, I've heard about this series. I think it might be I might clutch my pearls a bit too hard for that one. Kurt Vonnegut channels Voltaire. Ooh, I'm not getting all of the messages in the chat, which is a bit of a bummer. But apparently I can show on the stream comments. So that's quite cool. Let's see if that works. Q&A next week. Oh, it pops up down the bottom. says K Frito. Oh, how fun. And I think, does it just show for 10 seconds and then go away? No. Yes, it does. Oh, how exciting. I'm still learning things about this as well. All right, everyone, let's raid into someone who is... No, I can't. I'm on Riverside. No, I can. I can do it in the Twitch chat. Who is on tonight? Do we want some Baldur's Gate 3? Do we want some Arc Raiders? Mario Golf in Games Done Quick? What, did they just score a hole in one for every one of the rounds? That's fascinating. Games Done Quick is a channel I really like. But is there anyone else that we can raid into, or do we just clock out? Just live our best lives. Just say goodnight. Call it a night. Games Done Quick is great. All right, let's raid them.
Yeah,
they don't need any followers. They've got nearly 3,000. Oh, Games Con Quick. I can't spell. No one will even notice. Why can't I? Oh my God, I cannot write today. I nearly got it wrong again for a third time. Maude. I need to go cook shrimp and grits. Oh, how fun. First try. Okay, bye everyone. Bye.